Coming up tonight, Secretary Clinton is still testifying in front of the Congressional Benghazi Committee today, speaking about the events that occurred 4 years ago.
And CitrusTV News reporter Hunter Saenz has the exclusive interview with former quarterback A.J. Long 1 week after he was removed from the team, having too many concussions.
And Love Your Melon's Michelle Sagan speaks about the hats that are keeping heads warm here on campus and in children's hospitals.
The news you need to know. CitrusTV News Live at 6 starts right now.
From the CitrusTV studios, this is CitrusTV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Max Darrow.
And I'm Jessica Mendelson. The ongoing debate over football and concussions is now hitting close to home. That's our top story tonight. It has been a week since former SU quarterback A.J. Long was cut from the football team after having too many concussions.
CitrusTV News reporter Hunter Saenz sat down with A.J. Long for an exclusive interview and explains what you can do to keep your child safe on the field.
It started as a dream, from passing to scrambling for touchdowns. SU quarterback A.J. Long knew how to do it all. But now Long is permanently forced to the sidelines.
It was terrible because it was real.
A team doctor told Long he will never be able to play football again for SU after getting 3 concussions since his start at Syracuse. But Long says if he could do it all over again, he wouldn't change a thing.
There's nothing that you can do that's going to prevent a concussion other than you playing scared. Just play football the way that they teach you and the way that you're coached to.
Even doctors who help treat patients who are suffering from concussions agree, saying football helmets do not completely protect players from concussions.
We can put a helmet on the head, but you can't put a seatbelt on the brain.
Research found that out of nearly 1,200 concussions in the 2012-2013 football seasons, more than 65% of them happened to high school players, more than 3 times that of college athletes.
I think it's too early to tell parents to remove their child from football or other high-risk sports for concussion.
Still, Dr. Reiger says coaches should continue to teach players how to tackle correctly.
Safe play, not overly aggressive play, tackling with your head up so that your neck can absorb some of the forces.
All techniques Long hopes to one day teach after he becomes a coach, fulfilling yet another dream in order to try and keep the same thing that ended his career from ending others. Hunter Saenz, CitrusTV News.
You may be wondering what those Love Your Melon beanies are that many people have been wearing around campus.
Well, here for today's CitrusTV News Spotlight is Syracuse University's first Love Your Melon campus representative, Michelle Sagan, to tell us a little bit more about the organization and its goals. Michelle, thanks for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
So today is Love Your Melon Day. Can you tell us what that means?
So Love Your Melon Day it was started by, Love Your Melon was started by college kids in Minnesota, and they had a Triple E class, and they had to think of their own rendition of like a lemonade stand. So they thought about these hats. So they wanted to sell these hats, and they made it their mission to put a hat on every child battling cancer in America. So we've been doing that, and Love Your Melon marks the 3rd anniversary of Love Your Melon. So Love Your Melon Day is kind of the day where we're celebrating it, getting the word out.
Great.
So being a Love Your Melon representative, what does that mean to you?
I interned with Love Your Melon about 2 summers ago, so I loved being able to go across the country, bring the hats to kids, and I loved being able to come to Syracuse and give it to kids. We went to Upstate earlier today. I still have paint on my hands from when we made some capes with the kids, so I love being able to bring it close to home and really help out in Syracuse, and they need it.
So what does it mean for college students getting involved with Love Your Melon, or if people want to get involved?
So we have various forms of social media. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we're always looking for people to help. We've got 20 people helping us right now, and we always need people to help us table, go donate at the hospitals, and especially next Love Your Melon Day, I'm going to be gone. I'm a senior. We can use all the help we can get.
Definitely check out Love Your Melon. It's a great organization. Michelle Sagan, thanks for being with us tonight.
And if you are interested in buying a Love Your Melon beanie or hat, you can do so on their website at loveyourmelon.com.
Mets fans rejoiced last night when the New York team swept the Chicago Cubs in the National League Divisional Series and earned a place in the World Series for the first time in 15 years.
We asked students today what this means to them.
It was a great game. Obviously, being a Mets fan, this is a situation I'm just not used to seeing.
I've been a Mets fan my whole life. I've watched some really bad teams. I've watched some really good teams not quite make it. And it's just really cool because, you know, in the almost 20 years I've been alive, I've never seen, one of my favorite sports teams have a chance.
The Mets will face either the Toronto Blue Jays or the Kansas City Royals in the World Series.
Nick Dugan will have a full recap of the game and what else is going on in the world of sports later tonight in the show. And coming next fall, Falk College will be offering a new master's degree. The Master of Science will be in Food Studies. It will be a 2-year program. University officials say it will be closely tied to economics, sociology, and urban and regional planning. The school has begun the recruitment process for its first students in the program. And a student suing the university for an injury is now claiming she is permanently disabled. Senior architecture student Meishi Zhang is on medical leave from SU after a window pane fell on her head in Lyman Hall in January of 2014. Zhang says she now suffers from memory loss, post-concussion syndrome, and vision problems. She's suing SU and 2 companies for $5 million. The 17-year-old brother who survived his injuries after an alleged church beating in New Hartford testified before a judge yesterday. Christopher Leonard described the beating of his 19-year-old brother, saying it happened with a long black cord. The teen's parents have been charged with first-degree manslaughter in the death of their son, Lucas, and 4 other church members have been charged with second-degree assault. Officials say the beating happened after Lucas expressed an interest to leave the church. And coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, President Obama met with the Prime Minister of Pakistan today. What the United States is doing before that talk.
A soldier is dead after an operation in Iraq.
And Hillary Clinton's long-awaited testimony before the Benghazi committee coming up. The highlights next.
Well, we've seen snow, rain, and wind already this season, but is fall already over? Luckily, we've got a couple warm days left. Stay tuned for your weather update coming up.
Check. Oh, you got it. Since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
So who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play or even what you wear. You just need to be there. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
A nearly two-thirds majority of the House Freedom Caucus, the anti-establishment conservative faction of the GOP, has backed Paul Ryan for Speaker of the House.
The caucus had different views on the conditions Paul Ryan set, but feels they can resolve them within the caucus in due time.
Ryan requested support from all 3 major caucuses before accepting the role.
With the toughest hurdle now cleared, Paul Ryan is expected to receive enough votes to become Speaker.
America cannot shrink from our responsibility to lead. That doesn't mean we should ever return to the go-it-alone foreign policy of the past, a foreign policy that puts boots on the ground as a first choice rather than a last resort. Quite the opposite. We need creative, confident leadership that harnesses all of America's strengths and values. Leadership that integrates and balances the tools of diplomacy, development, and defense.
Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton is still testifying today before the House Select Committee on Benghazi.
Clinton has spent days prepping for the hearing, which she believes is a Republican ploy to injure her presidential prospects.
The committee has been active for 72 weeks. This is an amount actually longer than the work of the Watergate Committee.
Well, the man suspected of killing a 4-year-old in Arizona in a road rage incident has confessed.
It happened on Tuesday after police say 2 cars cut each other off. Officials say one then pulled up to the other car with the children and the passenger opened fire.
Tony Torres was taken into custody yesterday after an anonymous tip led to his identification. Torres confessed to the murder.
He now faces a variety of charges, including an open count of murder and aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. He's being held on $650,000 in a cash bond. And an American soldier died earlier today after raiding an ISIS camp and helping to free 70 prisoners in Iraq.
The incident happened near the Iraqi town of Hawija. The soldier was also working to capture militants when he was killed.
This soldier is the first one to die in Iraq since the withdrawal of troops in 2011.
No name has been released, and the military has not yet provided details of the operation.
One teacher and a student are dead, and 2 others are injured after an attack in western Sweden.
A 21-year-old man entered a school with either a sword or a large knife that he used to attack the victims.
The man was shot by police inside of the school.
Swedish reports say he is in surgery for those gunshot wounds. Initial reports of his death were false.
And the United States will sell 8 new F-16 fighter jets to Pakistan ahead of today's meeting between President Obama and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif.
The discussion of the meeting is expected to revolve around the president's plan to keep troops in Afghanistan and halting a new generation of nuclear weapons in Pakistan.
Pakistan is expected to gain 30 more warheads by 2025, jumping from 220 to 250. This would make them the 5th largest nuclear power in the world.
This visit marks the start of a new era. Some have called it a golden era in relations between Britain and China, an era of stronger economic ties, deeper trade links, closer relations between our peoples, and meaningful dialogue on the issues that matter to us both.
Britain and China agreed yesterday to give the Chinese a stake in Britain's nuclear industry.
The deal came at the end of Chinese President Xi Jinping's 4-day stay in Britain.
It will allow the Chinese to be both a contractor and an investor in British nuclear plants.
And now Citrus TV's Jamie Weiss will tell us what students are saying about today's weather.
Well, Max, students have a lot to say about the weather here in Syracuse because we've already seen snow this season. Fortunately, we woke up to beautiful weather this morning with sun shining and 60-degree temperatures. As the day went on, clouds rolled in with a whole lot of wind. This week's weather photo spotlight was tweeted in by freshman Alyssa Goldberg. Thanks for the great picture of campus, Alyssa. If you see a weather-related image or beautiful skies, take a picture, tweet it, and send it in using the hashtag SUWXPics. You may just be featured on our show next week. Now coming up, I'll have your full weather forecast along with a look at the end of the world coming up after the break.
I'm Jay Billis of ESPN. You're watching Citrus TV, so don't change the channel.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. So, Jess, a couple years ago, I would have been surprised to see snow in October, but this weekend wasn't a surprise at all.
Well, my fingers are crossed the snow won't be back for a while. Jamie, do I need to pull out my heavy coat yet?
Well, Jess, I think we have a couple more weeks before that parka needs to be out for good. Currently, it's 55 degrees outside under mostly cloudy skies, and there's quite a bit of wind. Luckily, central New York warmed up from our snow dusting over the weekend, but other places in the country aren't as fortunate. There's been snow up in the Rockies, and we have warmer temperatures and a lot of rain in southeast Texas. No rain in our immediate forecast. Zooming into the northeast, we can see a few areas of precipitation on the Doppler, but it's relatively dry in Syracuse thanks to the high pressure system moving in. Now, if we take a look at this, we can see the high pressure system moving the temperature east, and that's going to bring our warm weather. Now, if we look into tonight, 37 degrees, mostly clear, slight wind. It's not going to be too uncomfortable, and similar temperatures across the country. Tomorrow morning, 50 degrees. It's going to be very, very comfortable when we wake up. And looking into this weekend for homecoming, it looks like a great weekend, but a great weekend in Syracuse means a lot of clouds and some wind. Now, I've broken down the day for you here. At 9 a.m., be prepared for 37 degrees if you're tailgating outside. Noon, kickoff, 50 degrees, but if you're inside the Carrier Dome, it's gonna feel more like 75. And at 5 p.m., fingers crossed we'll be able to celebrate. It's gonna be 55 to 60 degrees. So all in all, it's looking to shape up like a great weekend overall, high 50s to mid 50s, and only a little bit of rain during Sunday morning. So it's going to shape up to be a great weekend here in Syracuse.
So, Jamie, looking forward to a great weekend. Is it a good one to go apple picking?
It is a good weekend to go apple picking. There's a 40% chance of rain Sunday morning, but by about 1 or 2, all that rain will have cleared out.
Now, the wind has been making it a little colder, so how is the wind going to affect our temperature this weekend?
Well, the wind hasn't really affected the temperatures as much as I expected it to. We're only dropping about 5-6 degrees. Overnight, it's still going to be pretty chilly without the sun, but we do have partly cloudy skies, so that sun will help warm us up.
Jamie, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Now, new research shows weightlifting can help the brain. The study reveals women that lifted weights twice a week slowed the age-related shrinking of some parts of the brain. The experiment backs up current claims of regular exercise benefiting the mind. And ESPN plans to lay off 300 employees in response to changing consumer trends. ESPN has lost roughly 7 million subscribers in 3 years as viewers turn to web-based streaming alternatives. The company will be focusing on integrating technology into all areas of business in order to keep up with viewer preferences. And an investigation is underway to determine if even more Volkswagen vehicles had illegal software that failed emission tests. Last month, Volkswagen announced that roughly 11 million cars in the EA189 line had the software. They're now announcing that cars in another line may also have that software. Volkswagen has not yet commented on how many other vehicles this includes.
Scientists have captured a visual of the destruction of the solar system. NASA's Kepler-2 space mission got a video of a planet getting torn apart at the edge of the system. Astronomer Francesca Faidi says although Earth's final days are a long way into the future, the research shows a glimpse of what might happen. And the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced yesterday that 2015 is the hottest year on record. Experts link the high temperatures with strong El Niño weather this past year and the effects of global warming. And Google announced yesterday the launch of the YouTube Red, a subscription that will allow users to watch videos ad-free. The subscription will cost $10 a month. YouTube executives said this new feature is a new way to give internet famous creators a new form of revenue. And now, Nick Dugan is going to give you a quick sports update. Nick, what's it looking like this weekend? What can we see? World Series preference.
Coming up, the New York Mets are headed to the World Series. Plus, both cross-country squads travel to Cornell for the final race of the season. And SU women's soccer looks to flip the script and start a winning streak tonight at the SU Soccer Stadium. All that and more on the other side of the break.
See news happening on campus in Syracuse or across the nation? Call the Citrus TV Newsroom at 315-443-1177 or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader. On the night of October 14th, Syracuse University was notified of an off-campus incident via Orange Alert. Just moments after the event, Citrus TV News was already bringing you new information on Periscope and social media. Then we brought nearly an hour and a half of live streaming coverage to students on and off campus via the web. Our own Hunter Saenz was at the scene near the shooting, sending us live images of the area under investigation. With full team coverage, we kept SU informed with the latest, most accurate information possible. We really are your campus news leader.
Welcome to Orange Press Pass.
Orange Press Pass is your ticket inside the Syracuse locker room. Hear from the coaches.
We got some open looks from the perimeter
and players.
Well, I saw pressure coming from the backside.
Get in-depth analysis, reports on site, and more.
Let's go on OPP.
Orange Press Pass, live after every Syracuse game.
And strike three called. They haven't been to the World Series since 2000, and the Mets are on their way back.
On the very day that Marty McFly traveled to the future in which the Cubs captured baseball's most coveted prize, they were swept by the New York Mets. It's been 15 years since the Mets have been to the World Series, and for the Cubs, the championship drought continues. After 3 dominating performances by the pitching staff, let's take a look at how the team from Queens was able to get a win last night. As you can see, this is the scene in a bar in New York after the last pitch was thrown. Pandemonium, mayhem, joy, all mixing together, and we'll show you why they were so happy. We'll start off here in the top of the first, and that's Lucas Duda with a 3-run home run to left center field off Jason Hamill. That puts the Mets up early, 3-0, and they wouldn't stop there. Daniel Murphy has been absolutely unstoppable so far. That's his 6th straight game with a home run this postseason. That is a brand new record. Mets up 8-1 in the top of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th. Jarius Familia strikes out Dexter Fowler looking. That will do it. 8-3 is your final score as the Mets sweep the Cubs in the NLCS, and they will head to the World Series. The men's and women's cross-country teams head down the road a ways to finish up the season at the John Rife Memorial in Ithaca on Saturday. The men earned the only first-place vote in the school history and finished the week 2nd in the national polls after repeating as champs in Wisconsin. The women finished 11th last weekend and dropped 1 spot to 16th in the country. The women get underway with a 5K at 4:30 while the men begin their 5-mile race at 5 o'clock. 8-12. That was the record of the SU volleyball team just 1 year ago, but not this year. To date, head coach Leonard Yellen and his squad are ranked 4th in a tough ACC conference. Citrus TV's KJ Vaughn takes a look at their continued success.
Syracuse volleyball seems like a completely different team than the one that finished 9-21 last year. This year's squad is off to a 15-4 start, the best in Coach Yellen's tenure at SU. And are on a current 3-game win streak. The return of Nicolette Sarator has sparked the Orange. She missed all of last year with an injury. Despite the 15-4 record, though, SU is still missing in action on the NCAA Top 25 rankings, mostly due to a weak RPI, which ranks 50th in the country. Syracuse just beat Virginia over the weekend and goes down to the Sunshine State to take on Florida State tomorrow. KJ Vaughn, Citrus TV.
After starting the season 3-0, the SU football team has dropped 3 straight contests, most recently a triple overtime defeat at the hands of Virginia. The defense has given up nearly 1,400 yards over that stretch, while the SU offense has totaled just 920. While the team has struggled on both sides of the ball, wide receiver Steve Ishmael says that there's nothing else to do but keep on working and trusting.
No sense of panic. We just riding on the boat. We just riding everything out. We're not gonna change up anything just because we didn't pull out as many wins as we wanted to. We're still confident in everything that we do. So we're just trusting the coaching, and we're trusting everything.
On the pitch, the women's soccer team continues ACC play as it hosts the Miami Hurricanes in the SU Soccer Stadium at 8 p.m. The team had lost 6 straight conference games, 5 of those on the road, before breaking their skid in a 3-0 win over NC State last Sunday. The Canes come into Central New York with a record of 5-9 and just 1 game better in the ACC at 2-5.
So Nick, who's your World Series?
I think that the Mets are going to win the World Series over the Royals. I'll say 6 games. I think the pitching from Syndergaard and DeGrom is just going to be too much for the Mets in the World Series, and they'll take home a victory.
Nick, thank you so much for that prediction and your sports update. We'll be right back.
Staring contest!
You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Psst, they're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. Now she's holding on for dear life.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
So Jamie, waking up tomorrow, there's going to be tons of alumni flooding into town. What weather should they prep for coming back to our frozen tundra of a home up here?
Well, all I can say is I'm glad they were here this weekend and not last weekend. We're seeing 50-degree temperatures, breezy but not too cold, so maybe just a light sweater and they'll be fine.
So I haven't turned on the heat in my house yet. It was freezing this weekend. Should I be turning it on after this weekend?
I think after this weekend, we've still got one more weekend where it's going to be probably upper 40s, lower 50s. At night it's going to be cold, so bundle up, but I think we've still got one more week before the heat needs to get turned on.
Great. I mean, they have been saying it's the warmest year so far.
It has been. I know we've had a lot of weird temperature, but at least we got our first snow behind us.
Great. Thank you.
So yesterday was Back to the Future Day, but as the movie predicted, Marty McFly still appeared on the front page of today's newspaper. Check this out.
Yes, that's one thing the movie did get right, or maybe that USA Today got right. Take a look at this cover on USA Today.
So, you know, I've never actually seen the movie, but maybe we should go back and see it.
I mean, that would be probably the best way to do it.
Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. I'm Max Darrow.
And I'm Jessica Mendelson. Be sure to check us out on social media.
Have a great night.